Welcome back to Outside Views, the channel where we peel back the layers of political drama so you don't have to. And today we're talking about a man who's turned political theatre into an art form, and that's Nigel Farage. More specifically, we're discussing why so many critics are labeling him a political fraud. Hold on to your pints, this one's a ride. So, Nigel Farage, a man who seems to change his political costume more often than some people change socks. And according to Paul Novak, the UK's most senior union chief, Farage isn't just shifting gears, he's cosplaying as a working class hero. And Novak's got some choice words: political fraud, hypocrite, and even suggests Farage makes Liz Truss look like a beacon of integrity. And that's ouch. You are in trouble when Liz Truss seems like the benchmark for consistency. And Farage, leader of Reform UK, is trying to rebrand himself as the saviour of Britain's forgotten industrial heartlands. He's out there waving the flag for nationalising British steel and even failed water companies. He's cozying up to the unions and making speeches in places like the County Durham, promising to reindustrialise Britain. But wait a second. This is Nigel Farage, right? The same Nigel Farage who once championed Brexit, a move economists widely agree hammered British manufacturing and trade, and the same guy who's historically opposed measures that would actually benefit working class people. Seems a little suspicious. And Novak isn't letting that slide, and according to Novak, Farage's entire strategy is about telling people exactly what they want to hear, even if he has no intention of following through. Novak warns voters not to be fooled by this bandwagon jumping approach. And basically, Farage is a political equivalent of a fairground fortune teller with big promises, flashy presentation, but zero substance. But let's dive deeper into these massive contradictions. Farage claims to stand up for British workers, yet he aligns himself with Donald Trump, whose tariffs have threatened thousands of manufacturing jobs right there in Britain. And Farage's Brexit campaign undeniably disrupted the British economy, harming the very working class communities he claims to represent. And as Novak points out, the fella hasn't got a coherent economic plan. It's like trying to sail across the Atlantic with a sieve. There's just no way it's going to hold water. And speaking of contradictions, let's talk about workers' rights. Farage has openly opposed the Employment Rights Bill, despite it being widely popular even among Reform UK voters. And this bill would ensure basic rights like day one sick pay and flexible working. Yet Farage's party doesn't want it. Why? Perhaps because his version of protecting workers involves, not protecting them at all. And here's a fun fact. Reform UK has never run so much as a parish council, yet Farage confidently positions his party as ready to lead entire cities and towns. And as Novak puts it, Farage has spent his whole career riding the political gravy train he accuses others of enjoying. And it's the classic case of pot calling the kettle black, while the pot itself is on a luxury train bound for hypocrisy. And let's touch on immigration, a favorite Farage talking point. He recently said he wanted to become the UK's deporter-in-chief, likening himself to former US President Barack Obama. And now comparing yourself to Obama might sound clever, but it conveniently ignores that Barack Obama's immigration policies were deeply controversial even among his supporters. Farage loves provocative headlines, but substance, not so much. He's basically the political version of clickbait. Intriguing on the surface, disappointing once you dive in. And Farage also has a troubling history with divisive rhetoric. His past comments on Brexit and immigration haven't exactly been inclusive. And Novak accuses him of playing fast and loose with racist rhetoric, creating division rather than unity. And Farage might deny this, but actions speak louder than words, and his actions often scream controversy. And even Kemi Badenoch, leader of the Conservatives, doesn't seem eager to align with Farage nationally, although she hasn't completely ruled out local coalitions. When asked if Farage was a fraud and a hypocrite, Badenoch danced around the question like a contestant on Strictly Come Dancing. But reading between the lines, even she doesn't seem keen on a Farage partnership. And that's like your mum politely declining to say your singing is terrible. Sometimes silence speaks volumes. But where does this leave voters? And according to Novak, they should be wary. Reform UK's appeal might seem tempting amidst widespread dissatisfaction with mainstream politics. But as Novak cautions, don't just listen to Farage. Watch what he does. And what he's done has typically benefited himself far more than the average British worker. And Novak also advises Labour leader Keir Starmer not to panic over Farage's antics. Starmer got a massive parliamentary majority. He doesn't need to chase votes to the right, and instead he should double down on real policies with supporting workers, investing in public services, and genuinely tackling the cost of living crisis. Farage claims to speak for workers, yet has consistently supported policies that weaken labour protections. He promotes nationalism, yet happily aligns with international figures whose policies directly harm British industry. It's almost as if Farage sees British politics as an episode of a reality TV show. Lots of drama, plenty of shouting, but ultimately no meaningful change. Britain deserves better than this cycle of empty promises. Genuine solutions come from consistent policies, from real economic plans, and a commitment to unity rather than division. And as Novak rightly says, you can't reform by playing their game. It's about substance, not about spectacle. And in essence, Farage is performing a masterful political illusion. He's distracting voters with flashy rhetoric while failing to deliver substance. But as we all know, even the best illusions eventually lose their magic when people realize they've been tricked. So, Britain, next time Farage stands on stage promising to reindustrialize and champion the working class, ask yourself, does his track record back it up? Or is he just the latest magician pulling rabbits out of hats, hoping that you won't look too closely? Remember, flashy words don't build factories or secure jobs, actions do. And actions, sadly, are precisely what Farage seems to lack. So thanks for joining us today on Outside Views, your political myth-busting headquarters. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Britain's favorite political illusionist, Nigel Farage, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more honest takes on politics without the spin. See you next time, and the next video is right here in the end screen.